Cool. So, good morning, Captain Kerry, and good morning to those watching Wise Women Weekdays. So, I have to have Captain Kerry de Courcy on the sofa in her house up in Lancashire. I'm down in Sussex, and Captain Kerry. What? Let's start a little bit about why have you called yourself Captain Kerry, and what is it do you think we're going to talk about today? Because already, sorry, I've already asked the question, but I'm off.
Yep.
You've said I'm from like Sirius B or something. Oh, that's interesting. And we've skimmed over the Bible and bits missing and the 77 and 60s, all these. We've just covered so much and just saying hello, haven't we? So
Yeah.
tell me first why you call yourself captain, and sort of a bit about your background and what you want to talk about today, what we're going to chat over.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm glad that I changed my name because it's a great conversation starter. But I remember I was in Malaysia, so I basically moved back to England about 19 months ago after 22 years in Malaysia. And I was there when the whole Corona era kicked off. So I remember I was doing all the deep diving into the law and the sovereignty and blah, blah, blah. And I was watching tons of chats. And what was the name of this guy? Was it Mark Kishon Christopher or something? He had a couple of people on a Zoom chat. And one of them was saying that if you can get captain on your passport, that's kind of like quite a profound thing to do. And so I knew when I was returning to the UK that I needed a new passport. And so I thought, and I was just in this state of mind of, wanting to claim my sovereignty and wanting to let the establishment know that I was my own person, right? And that I was a captain of my vessel. And so, yeah, I just changed my name and handed it in, got two people to witness it. And they kind of said, no, you can't do that. And I was like, yeah, I can. Go and check. I can. And the guy just came back and said, okay, you can. So it said when you fill out your name, it says titles at the top. So I just wrote captain and lady. And because I'm a lady, so people don't get confused about my gender, because I think she and her's a bit rude, right? You call what is it? Who's she? The cat's mom, right? So yeah, I was staying in a hotel in Lytham because at that point I was visiting England. I hadn't decided to stay until I saw the state of it, and then I felt a very strong calling to stay in the gloom. And my new passport was delivered to Captain Lady Kerry de Courcy, care of
Oh,
the
how fantastic.
Queen's at the Queen's Hotel, where I was staying when she passed away as well. So it's all
Oh,
a
how
bit.
fantastic. And let me just go back a bit because you said you're the captain of your own vessel. So tell me what you mean about vessel.
Well, my body. So,
Okay.
one thing that I realized very quickly at the beginning as well of the Corona era was that, yeah, this is my vessel. It's sacred, and nobody's sticking experimental stuff in me. So, and I'm also not going to cover up my face and not breathe freely because to me it was a satanic ritual. So, yeah, and I stood my ground in Malaysia. I think I was the only person not wearing a mask, and I was videoed, and that went viral. And the next thing, I'm on the evening news as Malaysia's most wanted, and
Wow.
it's pretty crazy. The next morning, 10 police in black cars and black clothes appeared at the house and were trying to gain access, and it was pretty terrifying. But long story, that's a whole kind of thing for another.
Yeah, another
Because
discussion.
there was like timeline shifting going on, and it's all to do with the frequency that you're at. And that's why one of the things that I really focus on that we'll talk about is, and again, going back to the vessel, it's about gaining control of your vessel, knowing how it works, knowing that you are the master and that your consciousness is able to kind of tap into the sacred technology that was given, the organic living technology, which the dark actors are trying to copy to kind of make a different kind of escape. But the problem with that shadow parallel realm, which is trying to imitate what God created, is it's a finite closed system that eventually just, when they run out of humans, they've run out of energy. So
Yeah.
their system is kept alive using our energy because they need the plasma energy, which is why we have the adrenochrome and all that stuff, right? And But that plasma energy, again, is all connected to how we use the vessel. It's connected to our sexuality. It's connected to the chakras, to your pineal. But it's most importantly connected to your thoughts and how, what you give your attention to, what intentions you set, as well as mastering your emotions, losing your attachments, because attachments bring about emotions that are not necessarily positive, right? It's all about surrender. And the great paradox is that you can become and have anything that you can even imagine or dream of, right? Using your pineal, it's the Holy Spirit, as long as you're not attached to it. So it's about getting into a flow of divinity where it's almost like every day is Christmas Day and all the presents are surprises, right? And the present is the present. And when you're in the present, everything unfolds and you just become the observer rather than being attached to and grabbing hold of certain things, which then drags you back into the 3D where everything's a different dimension. It's slower, it's more gross, it's more painful. So yeah, that's probably loads and loads and loads of information. But yeah, so that's captain of my own vessel, which I am daily working on to, ascend in myself, right? Because one more thing I'll say is the ascension and 5D and New Earth and all that, it's not a place that we're going. It's a state of being within. And it's the state of being, the frequency that you're able to kind of transmit and anchor. That's what determines your environment or what's around you, what you perceive as reality. Is that a
Well
lot?
done, thank you. Excellent explanation. Because also, just going back to the vessel, and I don't want to dwell on this, but I think it's important to know that vessel also relates to the law in which many of us are living, if that's existing, I should say, through maritime law. So the vessel, the ship, when you go to court, you go to the dock, and all these kind of words that have been manipulated. So I just wanted to put that in, and we won't dwell on the common law thing because there's a lot of people talking about it. But
it's important though to have the connection, and it is important to understand the common law because the people or the beings or the ones who've been kind of like hoodwinked into running the system, they don't understand any of this, and so it is important to know. And again, the vessel is, you go down the birth canal, don't you?
Yeah,
And then you
absolutely.
hit the dock, right? And then it's a delivery, and it's supposed to be this lost vessel at sea, but it's not. It has an owner. And then when people say, I think somebody said on one of the legal remedy things that you
Lawful
did,
remedies, yeah.
lawful remedy, one of them, I think somebody said, oh, sorry, it's gone. There was a little add-on there, but it doesn't matter.
It might come back if it's meant to. Yeah, it might take us down another path. Because so I just wanted to bring that in for those people that are thinking vessel. It's a bit odd, but yeah, as you've said, and it's like the Black's Dictionary, isn't it? There's a lot of these words that have been manipulated and turned upside down, and we'll leave that for another day. But the other thing I thought I'd like to mention was when you're saying about, you're kind of describing the law of attraction, which is in vogue or has been in vogue over the last few days. But you're also now, I think it's another science, because the law of attraction is a science. What you think you can attract, but it's also the law of attachment or detachment is what you're describing, which I think is very apt, and it does work. You might gain these things, but if you're needy, then you won't. So, and then perhaps they come your way and you're not even bothered about them, because your whole way of being and believing changes anyway when you sort of jump into that paradigm, I guess.
Yeah, which is another reason why we don't get too attached to things, because if you're putting so much energy into one thing, you're closing yourself down to other possibilities and to just changing. It's about learning to kind of just go with the flow and, just observe, because we're completely blind down here. We're so much a shadow of what we originally were created to be. And I wake up in the morning normally around about, I wake up about 2 and I get up and do a bit of work, and then I go back and meditate, and then I kind of come out of those sleepy meditations with kind of information in my head, and it's like, oh, I must go and write about that. But if I don't get it down straight away, I lose it. But this morning I woke up very clearly. In fact, things are getting a lot clearer this past week or so. But even since January, things are just going so much faster. Have you noticed that? since Chris,
It,
since
yeah,
just,
yeah. Things are speeding up very much. You can smell it in the atmosphere, can't you? More people are becoming aware of what's going on. I mean, I just bought some plastic boxes because I'm in the process of moving house, and I was in the hardware store yesterday, and this chap just realised things aren't as they should be. It was all to do with him parking. And where for years he'd parked, he'd had this business 20 years and he parked there 24 hours free. And because it was out of alignment, it was over a white line, somebody gave him a ticket and he thought there's too much control going on, which made him think. And so we had a very good conversation, and he wants me to pop in and give him more information when I'm in the area. And then another family member who has been so on the other side, following the agenda, behaving very well, now realizes something isn't right. And I'm quite amazed at that. And that was partly because of the parties that were going on in lockdown with our prime minister at the time, where they were telling us one thing but doing something else. So that's done us a major favor, because people now realize, hang on, what they tell us isn't always true. So, and on that's just the human being aspect. But on an energy level, yeah, for sure, something massive is happening very quickly. We've got a big eclipse coming on the 8th as well, haven't we? So yeah, definitely it's the year, isn't it?
yeah.
2024.
I think that so all right, let me just go back to what the original question was about the vessel and upgrades is, I think,
Yeah.
is Matt, and what's important for people to be thinking about now. So we are originally created with a perfect blueprint, and the blueprint originally had 12 strands of DNA attached, and the name of our original creation was the human angelic. And then we've been intercepted, hijacked, downgraded, and mutated to such an extent that we got taken down to 2 strands of DNA, which we know that's what we're taught over the past 50, 60 years, whatever, right, in school, about the DNA. And then remember, about in the 80s, they started talking about DNA and junk DNA and blah, blah, blah. Then we started getting information about quantum physics and quantum realities. And then you have people like Joe Dispenza and Greg Braden and Bruce Lipton and Rupert Sheldrake coming out with all this stuff about the quantum field. And then The Secret came out, and all these books were coming out, and the Law of Attraction, how to create a Merkaba, and all the new age spiritual stuff, right? But actually, and meditation and all this stuff, but we really only ever needed to learn how to just connect with our own solar plexus and our own energy, and to learn how to use that energy and manipulate it according to the moon cycles or our own cycles, so that we're able to actually raise it's actually sexual energy, but it shouldn't be called that. It's sacral energy. And instead of that always going out, that's energy that should be coming in, because that explosion of energy that people get when they, have an orgasm actually should be happening in the pineal. And that's how you access the rest of yourself in the rest of the cosmos. And it's a process that can only really happen once a month, and it's to do with the cycles. And so that's what we need to be learning to do. And also even just that energy without bringing it all the way up. And look, I haven't managed to do that yet. So I know that's the goal. I'm halfway, and I'm kind of.
Well, you're still on this planet. So
Yeah, but it's a journey though. And it's like, I want to
yeah.
share where I'm at in my journey, because there might be other people think, oh yeah, and they all go and start playing around with energy and stuff and come back. And, we're all learning this together. So I just come up with ideas, and I'm like, anyone, help. And so, but that energy also is what we use to heal. And it's about getting to the 0 point in the solar plexus, which is obviously we're connected to the sun. Everything's the light. I believe that's where it's coming in, because that's why you always feel the fear. That's why they're sucking the energy out. And that's why we have to get in control of the vessel, our own vessel. Nobody else's. You're only in charge of your own. This is a spiritual marathon that we're in. And I can train with you, but I can't run the marathon for you. Ultimately, we all have to run that marathon and get over the line. And it doesn't matter how you get over, and even if you don't get over, it's fine. There's plenty of us around to drag people over. The main thing is that you have an awareness, and you spend a little bit of time each day just sitting and going, okay, I'm open to the possibility that I'm from a star system. I'm open to the possibility I'm here as a spokesperson for the divine. And I'm open to the possibility that I am the master of my vessel, the master of my emotions, and the master of my realm. And that alone, if you can just entertain the possibility without going, oh, what a load of rubbish, is everything. It really is, because that's your intention. You've stated where you want to go, and you'll get there.
Yeah. Wow, a great description. It's very hard for many of us because of the society in which we live. I know you spent a lot of years in Malaysia, but you know, in the West, where we are sort of conditioned into competing with each other, which involves getting something better and more, whether it's for yourself or for other people, but we're driven to get a bigger house, a bigger car, go on more holidays, get the latest iPhone. And they're kind of distractions, because that's where the attachment comes. And that, as I say, I think it comes from the schooling system, because it's good to, I don't like the word compete. It's good to have a race and be the best for yourself. But I think quite often, you know, say that again.
We're comparing to each other.
Yeah, that's right. But
in a
yeah,
wrong
which is
way.
another distraction, isn't it? And then your mind goes off because he's got that or she's better, or and the way we look, what we have, the whole thing, and that's what we've got to push aside, like you're saying, go within. Anyway, so we're talking about the present, where we're at. Can you give me a little bit background about the past? What got you to where you are now? Why are you here, and where are we going, in your opinion?
All right,
Two big questions.
yeah, no, it's cool. I'm good. I mean, if you maybe asked me even 6 months ago, I might not have known, but I don't know. And again, this is my view. This is my realm that I'm creating. It's almost a bit like I feel like it's a bit of an example template for other people to go. It's like doing the crochet, right? So I'm
Yeah, which I love. Yeah.
No, I know. It's amazing. It's a Mandela, right? So I'm making this,
Yeah,
I'm copying the
fantastic.
exact colors that the original person that created. It's called Sophie's Universe. It's really cool. Anyone who's into crochet can go and get the free pattern and do it. And it's like I'm copying her pattern whilst I get my feet steady. And then once I'm used to it, I can start using different colors and different things. So, gosh, I've just had a crazy life, and so crazy that I actually ended up writing a book covering the first 10 years, and I have another 4 books to do. I've no idea when I'm going to get them done, but I'm going to.
Why do you know 4? Is that because it's
Because it's
the
so
20?
much stuff. Yeah, so much has
Okay.
happened. First book is age 0 to 10. It's the first 10 years of my life where I moved 22 times with my mum and was homeless. And, we lived on homeless and benefits because my father was married with a family, had an affair with my mother, who had my sister and I, but my mother was already a very broken individual, and that's like a whole story. And so I kind of brought my mum up, and I think through the trauma that I experienced at the hands of my father as a baby, which was really dark, and my astrology, what's shown in my natal chart and who I am and stuff, and the things that have happened in my life and my awareness, I just always was a little bit, I felt like I was looking from the outside in. I don't know, like I was always observing. A lot of people say they feel like outsiders or
Yeah,
bullied or misunderstood and all that. So all of
yeah,
that. And then just so many weird things happening to me, with a big incident in the British press in 98, which was actually the catalyst for me going to Malaysia. And then I'm all over the news in Malaysia for the mask thing. It was insane. And I kind of, started to ask questions, and I'm hearing a lot about, star seeds and galactics. And I'd already been told before I wrote the book, I had a session in 2010 with a lady who said, "Oh, you're a light worker." I was like, "What? A what?" And so I'd already been into all the, looking at all the quantum healing and all the books I'd mentioned for quite a long time. When I arrived in Malaysia, my father-in-law was already talking about Zachariah Sitchin and stuff, but I now realize he was kind of going down the dark agenda path, because I believe that's got a bit of misinformation. So yeah, I don't know, just so many signposts, and then this obsessive love of the sun and the light and sunsets, and you know, just very emotional, super empathic, and was always struggling, always going to see doctors. My ex-husband was always wanting me to be on medication, and it was a really long journey and a fight, and nothing worked and nothing was right. And then I actually, left. Well, I didn't leave the family, but I separated from the family about a year before March 2020. And when the lockdown started, I immediately started to get this high-pitched ringing in my ears and started to receive information online, as we all did, but it was jumping out, and I was following the rabbit holes and went and did the 4 PhDs that we've all done, right, in the past 4 years. And yeah, I don't know. And I just realized, and there's some really shady stuff happened to me on Telegram with some people that conned money out of me and blah, blah, blah. And I was really in such a state. And I realized that I really had to get control of my emotions if I was going to survive what was happening. And I don't know how. And I did manage to just find this space where I felt like for a second I was kind of levitating. I found a really, really peaceful space inside. And I was like, oh, I wonder if I can do that again. And I did, and I kept doing it and managed to grow it. So that's where I'm at. And then through that, I get my own understanding of things that are happening. I've got my own messages, and I follow and listen to everything that's being said, and I love everything that's happening. But we are in different kind of stages. And the next stage, after we kind of get control of the realm and everybody realizes that they're sovereign, the next stage is okay, to go within, know thyself, and to, I want to do a workshop like, who are you? And most people go, well, I'm so and so, and I'm 53, and I work as this, and I've got 3 kids. It's like, no, that they're your 3D, kind of labels. But who are you really? What are your dreams? And it's really important to know what you want, what you don't, because we are now entering a realm where our thoughts are going to be creating our reality so much faster, because we're coming out of the 3D kind of, it's almost like a 2D matrix that we've been in. It's so uncolorful and so unmagical at the moment in the realm. And we have only up, and the sky is not even the limit, because there is no limit, So we're at right now where people need to kind of settle, go within, get to know themselves, get to know the vessel, and then start dreaming and visioning and knowing that it's coming. It really is. I can see the most amazing reality, and it's something like a cross between the Avatar realm and the Tartarian buildings and the blue Danube and waltzing and the big dresses. But you don't have to have that as in your realm if you don't want. And creation and love and just making all these beautiful things, because we can. It's so, how everybody's at the weekend trying to enjoy their life. Well, the majority of your life will be spent focused on doing what you love. And then we offer 2 days a week of service to the realm. And that's how I think we're going to move forward. But first, everybody's got to get out of the slave, that, the super tense, traumatized, contracted slave matrix it's not
Mindset.
blueprint, yeah, mindset and belief systems, so that we can just open up and free them. And all we have to do is just be open to the possibility of the dreams that we had as a kid. And so the first stage of know thyself is to connect with the inner child and reconnect and let them know, oh my God, all those dreams and things that were shut down, guess what? Let's set them on fire again.
Again, it goes back, I love that, thank you. And it goes back to education, doesn't it? Where you think, where children at school are not so much in my day. I mean, I'm 61 now, so I was at school, in the 60s, 70s. But and I think I was very fortunate. I think those of us in our 50s and 60s, have had a degree of freedom and prosperity. Before that, there were wars and stuff like that. So we could run around, catch butterflies, and I had it was wonderful. And school, it wasn't indoctrination. You were encouraged to be creative. Whereas now it's just whacked out of you, isn't it? It's totally whacked out of you. Domestic science, how to cook, how to change a light bulb, all these practical skills. They just want to control you. They just want to feed you what they want to feed you. And then they put you into university, which again, more corruption, more indoctrination. So it's yeah, I hear you. And what a lovely vision. Avatar, when you were describing it, I was thinking, oh, Avatar before the bulldozers came in.
Well, that's exactly where we're at. This is, if you
Yeah.
look at what they're doing to the realm with all these like glorified council estates that people are actually paying for, that are made out of absolute nonsense. And it drives me crazy. I get so angry, and then I'm like, okay, good light and goodness in and darkness out. And it's hard work. It hurts your heart and it hurts you, and you want to fight back. But the thing is, we're leaving that realm. It's going to disappear by itself. We live in a holographic reality. It is absolutely controlled by our thoughts, which are things. Thoughts are things. Thoughts are things. And, you know, I had $700,000 worth of XRP relieved from me by somebody saying that they were doing a humanitarian project. And I was so angry about that. I had to go within and do the breathing, and ended up in a different space and realized that actually that was a test, that was a lesson. And the amount that was lost, and I made it from nothing. So I was really up there like, oh no, the amount that was lost, it was kind of worth it to learn the lesson of controlling my vessel. And, you know, it really is about that. And it's about being, you know, able to maintain that Jedi force in any situation, because it literally is a force field. It is. Nothing can come in and touch it. Like, I absolutely know that if you're able, imagine somebody's coming to attack you and you're able to not go and go into that vibration, because they can only interact with you on a certain vibration. And if you're able to just I reckon they'd be flying off you. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I mean, that's
probably because I think we're bonkers. If we're all sitting there, but I hear what you're saying.
We're having the training now with all the, you know, they're going to shoot rockets at the moon in the eclipse. No, they're not. They just want you to think they are, because that's what creates their reality, their frequency. But we're here to raise the frequency. It is a literal battle of wills that's going on. And I'm so happy to finally just see so many people waking up and hearing Richard talking about like the quantum healing and stuff. It just makes me happy. And this is definitely where we need to go.
Richard Vobes, on his great show. He's very, very good. He's lovely. He's a bit poorly today, unfortunately. We were going to do a live show tonight, but he's poorly. He's lost his voice. But yes, it's great to see the amount of people becoming aware. And it's interesting how, isn't it? Like through yoga and meditation and all those positive things, it's happened so quickly. And it's full speed ahead. Now, you mentioned when we before off camera that I was from the planet's Sirius B, I think you said. Can you tell me more about that?
Right. So actually, I was thinking about this morning because so at the beginning again of the Corona era, I was on Facebook for a few weeks before I got completely deleted, and a lady got in touch with me. I don't know. I was posting a lot of stuff about off-planet thing. It was kind of weird. It's almost like I was being telepathically contacted, and all this kind of stuff was coming out. And a woman got in touch with me. You know what? Just go right with Sirius B, honey. Going back to Richard, though, I mean, I've been coughing. There's so much stuff in the atmosphere. There's two different ways of looking at it, and I do want to mention the duality as well, because that's important about the thoughts. Sirius B, but my neighbors are coughing. Everybody's coughing. My throat's a bit funny as well. But anyway, she wrote to me and she contacted me in messages and said, I really want to have a conversation with you. And, you know, when are you free? So we connected. And she said, look, I actually am a secret kind of, she did this job, which was basically doing your stars and your charts and your numerology to work out where you were from. And she said, I have a strong feeling you're from Sirius B, and also your daughter, your younger daughter. So we ended up doing the chart for my ex-husband, my younger daughter, and myself. This is all after we just, you know, I was living in a different house in a horrible part of KL. And it was the biggest print off of information of all the lives and all the deaths and all the wars in all the eras, going back to Atlantis, Lyra, the electric wars. And I remember some of this now. I remember the electric wars and how awful they were, the frequency of them. And because everything's energy, frequency, vibration. And so it turned out that Imogen, who you just spoke to, she's also Sirius B. So Imogen and I talk and we say, yeah, okay. So we're obviously, you know, we play around and we go, yeah, we're ground crew, but we're commanders and we have our own ship, and we chose to come in together because we work through a lot of stuff together in a safe space. You know, we get rid of a lot of rage, that's the ancestral stuff that we came here to clear, but we can use it. We do it with each other because we're able to let the anger out and then forgive each other. It's not easy, but we chose to do that. So yeah, I just, Sirius B would be also the same place or the same kind of energy, frequency, and dimension that you get Yeshua Sananda, who is also our brother Jesus Christ, or Christ is the Christ energy, the Christed one. We've also got Saint Germain, who I work with a lot. He's always around. And is also connected to the Nasara Jasara and the 1776 signing of the Independence, Declaration of Independence. It's all connected. And he's connected also to Trump and Baron Trump. And but I don't want to lose people with that because
No, yeah.
again, it's the duality I want to come back to. There's two ways of looking at everything. Which way are you going to choose? Because we are creating our reality going forward, and we've been given a positive and a negative template. And depending on your inner being and your state, oh, what a load of rubbish, or yeah, it's possible. I'm going to dream that dream. So yeah, and we're all, and Nikola Tesla is also from that council. So I followed a guy called Ishmael Perez. I'll share his information, and he has a fabulous book here called Our Cosmic Origins. I watch his lives and stuff, and he's an ambassador, a cosmic ambassador, as I have decided to call myself that, because I am. And he breaks it all down. And in Sirius B, what the council that's with the I don't really want to call them ships, because it's in a different dimension, and but anyway, where we are suspended above Earth,
Like a platform, yeah.
I might be getting a bit confusing now. There is a council that's dealing with Earth direct, and it's called the Guardian Alliance Signet Council 6. And my life path number is 6. My date of birth is 6, and so I'm a 666, which has been corrupted because it's the duality. And so I am identifying myself with that council, and not saying I'm anywhere near the level of those beings, because they're all ascended and they're all Christed. I'm still in human form working through my battles, but that is where I intend to be. That is my goal. That's my what's the word? My dream in life is to be a fully ascended member of that council, serving humanity, able to go in from this dimension in my physical form, and then to disapparate, or trans-apparate, or whatever you call it, into a different dimension at will, and back in and out as I feel like it. But you wouldn't see me go into a different dimension because time's not there. So it's a really crazy thing. And there's a lot of us here. Especially because you just wore the blue. You had to wear the blue the first time we met, because that is the Sirius B color. All right. We've got Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary.
My favorite color, actually.
Yeah. And that's why, because it is. And it's also connected to the water and the oceans and Avatar. The reason they're all blue is they're also that's the Sirius B, the lion, because there are other beings which are men, bodies of man with the heads of lions and stuff, which we think is weird. But you look at like Aslan, and that the the lamb, it's all that symbology is there for a reason. And the Lyrans are a feline race, and then you've got the horse races, the dolphin races, and these are things we have to start opening ourselves up to. Because to meet these incredible beings and go and have fun on their planet, instead of going on holiday to Bali, you're going to Sirius B or Venus. But you need to be able to get into the right frequency to stay in that realm, in that dimension. So yeah, go.
I'm just writing notes so I can put them in the description. Hence, I just keep notes, because there is no smoke without fire. Like you say, the lion, the head and the lion, and all these things that we've seen in mythology or growing up with fairy tales. There's a reason that they've been put our way. And you did sort of mention Tartaria before. I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole. I mean, there's so much evidence, but can you just explain to people what is Tartaria, in your opinion?
Oh, gosh, yeah. So this is, if Ishmael was here, we'd have a disagreement now. And
let's get him on board. Yeah.
Because I believe, so there's a theory that after Jesus was apparently crucified, right? And I don't want to get into that because it's the duality, and it's which story you're comfortable with. We did have the big heaven on earth was beginning, and that's where we had all these beautiful buildings and the pyramids, and we were creating a galactic center on earth. And so it was not the humans just that built the pyramids, although they were built with light and sound technology, which is easy to do. And so they had created all these beautiful buildings everywhere, and we know about Tartaria. And then the reset happened, whenever that was, and they just got rid of everything. And they I mean, the thing of what's happening now with all this rain in England, I sometimes have to stop myself going, ooh, because I believe that how the mud floods happened was that they basically saturated all the earth, completely saturated it. Then there was like a mini kind of an earthquake, which liquefied and caused the water and the mud to just become this kind of slimy, homogeneous mess that had no structure and just went everywhere. So you definitely can see that that has happened on the planet, that there are buildings and, you know, with the small windows and they're getting bigger as you go down the street or whatever. And when you point it out to people who are still stuck in 2D, you know, they just go, because they, you know, they can't. But when you actually stand back and look, you can see it's almost like you would be able to draw the right proportions of the building below the surface of what we would call surface level. So that definitely happened. And then they went, after they did that, First World War was not just about killing people and getting food and loosh, but it was also about destroying all the buildings and the, you know, because the cathedrals and the churches were originally healing chambers for people to go in with the organs resonating to heal things, organs. Your heart is your organ, your liver is your organ, you know, you've got your organs in your body, and these organs that they played with these huge, big, you know, did man make them? No. So, and then it all got, and then they took over the churches, the healing chambers, and turned them into churches where that was the only way you could get to God. And then they put black goo in the altars. That's why it's so weird when you go in a church and it's like, I mean, we do have a sense of reverence, but it's not just, you know, it's a bit more complicated. And then they had people eating the body and drinking the blood of Christ, which is cannibalism, right? And so it was so far away from the original thing. So yeah, the world was really stunning, and they just had to destroy everything, leading up to World War III, which is what we're in now, when the human psyche collectively would be so broken, so damaged, forgotten everything, and just want to be believing that they would have been able to implement their complete takeover of Earth. Because remember, it's not just humans; it's about taking out life. It's about taking out God's spark, natural, organic life in whatever form. And we're
So
here.
that was, let me interject there, Kerry. That's
Yeah.
great description of Tartaria. Thank you for those people that aren't familiar
I
with
do
it.
go on, and you need to
No,
interject.
it's
Thank
great. I mean,
you.
that's you know, that's I'm happy for you to go on, but it's just I don't want to miss some valid points, because now we're talking about heaven on earth. So when you're talking about Sirius B and this platform or this plateau or this, you didn't want to call it a vessel, but this, yeah, it visualizes this place above us where all these ascended beings are. How would that compare to heaven? Is there a heaven? Is heaven on earth? Are we living in heaven? Are we living in hell? I mean, where does heaven come into this? Because it's quite a big thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, but that again, it comes. So okay, this is where the duality comes in. Is it heaven or is it hell? So let's look at the rain that we're getting in England right now, which does my head in. It just drives me crazy. But I have to keep reminding myself that, you know, I'm not in control of everything. It's not just about Earth. So it's not just about humanity, and it's about the whole planet. It's actually about our galaxy. What's happening here is happening everywhere. So, you know, we've had our DNA messed with. They tell us we have junk DNA, but we don't. And we're currently having those other strands of DNA reconnected there so that we can see and experience heaven around us now. So again, it's not a destination, it's a state of being. And so it's about your choice. And so how do we want to see things? Do we want to take things as lessons, or do we want to lose ourselves in the low vibrational negative energy that's going to suck us down into hell? Everything is about you know, we make a series of choices. And you know, I always feel really sad for people who are living in hell right now on earth, because of, you know, they're trapped and it's horrific. And we can talk about multiple different scenarios that people are in right now, which is hell, and it always gets darker. But it's, you know, to end up in such a dark place, you have to have made a whole series of decisions, which then have to be kind of backtracked through the inner work, right? So it's about, first of all, accepting where you're at. You've got yourself here. It might seem like you didn't, but you did. You've always made choices. And so it's about, you know, being the best, highest vibration of yourself and trusting it. And it can take time. It's not just going to happen like that, you know, and it's about putting in the time of having faith. You know, nothing can just be given. We have to earn it, because we got ourselves into this situation. We're all complicit in the state of the planet right now, every single one of us. If you've ever worn a pair of Nikes, you're complicit. You know, we're all the fingers at all these politicians and stuff, half of them are being blackmailed and are in a really truly dark place. And so as much as I say, guys, if you're being blackmailed, please reach out to somebody and seek protection, because it's going down. Everybody is going to be caught and everybody is going to pay the price of those choices. So heaven, hell, it's a perception, it's a state of, but I mean, to me, we are now creating heaven on earth. We literally are. Imagine if everybody's houses was full of beautiful things that they made, and we were building hobbit houses instead of the box glorified council houses, and we were, we totally changed the system, so life was one permanent holiday, like I said, with just the odd, well, isn't that heaven? And also, your definition of heaven is different from mine. Yeah, I want to go to Venus, I want to go on the galactic roller coaster ride and fly my spaceship and whatever, right? Some people don't want that. They just want to go and live on a farm and have a couple of chickens and do a bit of embroidery and listen to nice music, or go to the village hall and partake in the community things that are going to be popping up everywhere and getting to know themselves. And that's enough, But ultimately, when we pass through the gateway of this particular incarnation that we're in now, we don't die. We never die. We just reconnect back to everything else that we are, because only a tiny fraction of who we are is incarnated into this vessel at this time. Although at this moment with us, more of our consciousness is actually coming to focus in this vessel now as these kind of way showers, I think. So yeah, I don't know. I'm imagining heaven all around me, even though it looks really dark, because I know I'm going to get to a point where it will manifest.
And like you say, perception has a huge part to play, a huge part to play. And I think, and energy wise, again, we've been trapped because it's very easy to live on this planet, especially in the West, where you have access to so many lovely things, the goodies. But when you talk about the energy and the chakra system, for instance, I see the heart as a crossover, the bridge, because our lower vibration, when you're feeding yourself with whether it's food or wine or drugs or sex or iPhones or Nike, you're feeding the lower vibrations, which is the physical body, and then you've got to kind of go over that bridge, detach yourself, and then you come into your singing, your creativity, and your all the other things. So I'm totally on board. It sounds good. Is there therefore a God? Sorry for these big questions.
Yeah, no, I love them. I mean, come on, it's what it's about, isn't it? If I can answer these questions, then I'm okay.
Because your opinion might be very different to mine. So,
yeah.
But it's lovely to hear. Yeah. So, what do you think about that one?
It's the tapestry that we all, make up of life, isn't it? Yeah, of course there is right. So, the word God is the word that we'll use for what I call a divine mother, father, creative, intelligent, extremely high vibrational or frequency. Let's call it a being, but it's actually kind of like the precursor to plasma, which is everywhere. It's in the air around us, right? It's just the reality we're in now. We've had everything sucked out. It's almost like we are in a dome. It's not a flat earth, but we're in a dome. And we've had it all, because the thing is that the negative aliens have been trapped here. That's why planet Earth's in lockdown as well. It's all metaphorical. The whole planet's in lockdown because they've trapped the negative agenda. And God's in everything, right? So this intelligence originally at source is one, and decided to know itself and kind of split off. This is a theory that kind of resonates with me, split off, and then that kept splitting off. And so we are now fractals of that original source. It's not to say that we are the source, that like, oh yeah, I am God, but I am definitely a fractal I resonate with and would aspire to be a fractal of the source creator. And in acknowledging that, I'm allowing that energy to work through me, because I believe that that's why we were created. And that does go into a whole new, like, different story, the story of the Bible, to do with, and in fact, you see, I could just jump back so many places. When I did the whole shamanism in Malaysia, we had this teacher called Abang Din, and he had a road accident and hurt his head, and he'd gone what people said was a bit simple, but he actually accessed higher levels. And he always used to say, you know, that God first create the angel, and he created Lucifer, and the angel were happy and everything was good. And then he created the human angel, the human angelic, which was us in our perfect state with our minimum 12 strands of DNA. And we were created in perfection and in the image of God, for God to appear on the planet in physical form now, and also, you know, or any planet he created, so that God will be able to experience things more physically. So, you know, the angels can't manifest. The first creation couldn't manifest in this density. But what they did was a third of the angels rebelled, and led by Lucifer. And this is literally Coronation Street. This is the gossip of the cosmos, you know. It's not like a little story. So this is the truth of what happened. The sooner we start to integrate this, the quicker we can move on and join the cosmos again.
Yeah.
And so we were created, and God created, you know, the Garden of Eden. So created Earth. Gaia, or Tara, actually was the original name, or Arimathea. There's all these different names at different levels, right? So it's Earth now, which is heart, an anagram of heart. And that's how you access the higher dimensions, through your heart, as you said, the higher dimensions being in you, not out there. And so the snake in the Garden of Eden was the fallen angels, because they had turned away from God. And the minute they fell, and immediately sensed, there was this immediate absolute despair, horror, and the worst feeling imaginable, because they had immediately cut themselves off from source, and then had to start finding ways of surviving, because they knew that they were just going to become darker and darker, more and more grotesque and mutated, until they finally just didn't exist anymore. And that's kind of where we're at right now, with the dark forces coming out, and they're so mutated and so grotesque, because there's no more life force. And as we start to ascend, once you pass your heart and you're up here and you're speaking your truth, and you know your truth, and you know who you are, they can't even see you anymore. And that's how this bifurcation, this separation, and the new earth and everything, again, you're suspended in space, and you're having a holographic, you're creating a holographic dream as an aspect of God. But our technology was hijacked, and they messed it up, and they implanted negative thoughts, dark thoughts, pornography, and, you know, sugar came into the, you know, and all this, and putting people in boxes, Saturn cubes, right? A house is a cube, a car's a cube, every building's a cube, and everybody's always in a cube. And it's the literally think outside the box means go back to nature, join, you know, so everything's connected. And so yeah, but we're at the point now where our DNA, through the people who are anchoring, or the beings who are anchoring this gnosis, and actually having the trust and the faith that this is real, and that maybe Q might be real, and maybe Trump is the commander-in-chief, and there is a good military in the background working for our, you know, which is galactic. Because people go, oh, there's not enough military. What are you on about? Whenever I say, you know, be careful, because you're going to be arrested by the military. I'm just giving you a fair warning. And people go, oh, you know, you're not one of those people that thinks they're white hats. And I just want to go, well, I'm a white hat. I consider myself a white hat. I say to people, I work with the military, because I do, because I know on some level, I don't know how quite yet, but I know that we're connected to other races, and we're here because the human angelic race is such an amazing creation, and we are going to recreate and re-establish the original kingdom as it was supposed to be before it was intercepted. And it's here, and we do it, and we do it collectively. And that's how Earth is created, is through our collective frequencies.
Wow. Wow. Breathe.
But it all makes
went off
sense.
then.
And it's not,
It
it's
does make
so
sense.
easy.
It does. It might
It's so
be.
easy. We just have to be nice, and we just
It's easy when you
love
know
ourselves.
how.
Yeah, we just
Yeah,
gotta love
but
ourselves.
you got to learn it. You got to do the training. You got to put in the work. You got to learn to ride the bike, haven't you? Just well, some people do just get on the bike and it goes. But when you want to acquire knowledge, you have to do the research. I was looking for a book about the plasma, and I think what's his name, Setchwin or something. Somebody sent me the book. I found it quite hard to read, but like they're saying, when you talk about plasma, there's these two plasma clouds that are attached to the Earth apparently, and it was a little bit beyond me, purely because the book was quite hard to read. But you mentioned it earlier, and I was gone off to find it. But Don't worry about
We
that.
have
Okay,
plasma
okay.
in our blood.
What else?
No, I was just saying we have plasma in our blood as well, right?
The blood.
And that's
Absolutely.
the magic. That's
Plasma.
that, and that the plasma in the blood, that's what we're trying to access when we into our pineal through the spine, through the cerebrospinal fluid, which passes through. The energy gets charged in the sacral chakra with that energy that everybody waits.
So Jumna, yeah.
Right. And
Nothing, yeah.
then and it's all, and once you have the information, you don't need to learn it. Once you're just aware, okay, it's something to do with plasma, it's something to do with opening up the
Yeah,
heart physically as well. We all need
yeah,
to be stretching our physical,
yeah.
like I'm such a hunchback, so I have to stretch. And once you physically stretch open your physical vessel, that allows more room for the heart, more blood to come into the heart, more plasma to come into the heart. And right. Anyway, I know you had another question. I just wanted to mention the blood.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I forgot what the question was now.
Oh no.
I think it was, did I ask it? I don't think I did. I didn't.
Well,
What's the
no, but
question?
it's a conversation, isn't it? And it just
Yeah,
flows.
it is. It's a chit chat, which is the whole purpose of these wise women weekdays. It's just to chat with
Yeah.
other wise women and wise men, and just to chat. But so we're going through this process. I totally concur, totally agree with you. I think it's amazing. I think it's a time to be on this planet. Out of any other time in history of mankind, this is the time to be here. Maybe we've been here many times before. I don't know. When's it all going to happen? When do you think? Have you got a timeline on this, or is I know it is happening? Is it going to be
Yeah.
an end? Is it like, oh right, we got there, or is it a constant flow, a constant change?
It's a flow. I think it's definitely a flow. Myself, but the flow is speeding up. And I do think there comes a tipping point
Yeah,
where I do think what's going to happen is that there will be a tipping point, and depending where you're at, things will suddenly really change in your realm very, very quickly. It could just be something really simple like, and this is kind of weird, this is just coming into my head. It could be, so I've been wandering around the realm on my own for 19 months of Lancashire. Spent Christmas Day completely alone because nobody invited me anywhere, because obviously they're all scared of me, or they're like, oh my God, who is this woman? And people have just become a bit unfriendly, but I get why. They're a bit scared and they don't know what to think. So there I was on my own. And it will just be, and I've noticed lately there's people popping up who will comment on my crochet and get talking and say, oh yeah, give me a card, because I had to go and create a website because I was blocked, banned, deleted everywhere, including in the Telegram groups and stuff. And so I was handing out these cards, and I ended up getting quite a few, like 5,000-6,000 views on my website quite quickly. So I was like, awesome, the message is getting out, right? I think I've now lost my answer.
like, are we being in the flow? Is it gonna? Are we gonna come to the end of it? Oh, we
Right.
made it.
And so yeah, so okay, because there's the EBS thing, but I think we're in the EBS. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. So a few people are asking me questions, and it would be like I would walk into that same coffee shop one day, and it would just be full of loads of people saying, Kerry, we've been waiting for you to, because we want to find out some stuff, right? Not because I want to be famous or make money on workshops, but because I just need people to wake up so I can go home, right? And I can reconnect, because I won't be able to access those full higher dimensions until everybody does, because that was the deal that I made when I came here, and you did, and Richard, and people, many people. We decided we're here for the very last
Our
person.
contract. Yeah.
And it's going to be, 100th monkey, 1000th monkey, whatever. And so there will be a sudden, I think it will be a sudden, so your whole realm will kind of still look the same, but there will be a feeling of like, oh, oh, oh,
Yeah.
hey, what was I doing? And you've got your cup of tea and you've got a crumpet, but then suddenly you might walk out and your garden's full of flowers, as before it was just all green. Or there's I don't know, there's just subtle differences. And then once you start to realize what's happening, you get on board with actually co-creating that and realizing that your thoughts create your reality. And that's again why we have to do some workshop on people dreaming, because the pineal is your seat it's your Holy Spirit, it's a seat of your imagination. And if you can't imagine, and if you can't even think about how you'd like it to look, and right now it's literally people are staggering around in the rubble. We are in the rubble of it's everything's falling apart, and it's like, oh my God, but there is a whole beautiful system here already to catch people. And so it's about the dreaming. And I probably haven't answered your question again.
No, I think you have. I think that because they're deep questions and they're not a yay or a
No.
nay answers, are they? And it's a perception, and it's just sowing seeds for other people to think about, to consider. Maybe they hadn't. And you just said something like to have a dreaming workshop. I think that's a brilliant idea. Creativity and dreaming and just playing and accessing your inner child, but with other like-minded people, non-like-minded people. Maybe they think, what's that about? But they just give it a go and see where it where it ends up. So I think that's a really lovely way of taking us to the next level. And I think a lot of people have got a little bit confused, like saying friends of mine, people that I've known, whether they're friends or not, because the world has changed. I've lost quite a few friends over the years because they think I'm a bit bonkers, or because we don't have so many things to talk about. Yeah. And I can't do the shallow conversations. I've never been a shallow. That's why my questions are big. I've never been that woman, the mother in the playground, what talks. I just work.
What she
Yeah.
was wearing.
Yeah. So go for it. And see, I forgot what I'm saying now, but I just think, having workshops and allowing people to express themselves is massive, and being supportive of that process. Because if we are from Sirius or from another planet or whatever, or just because we're kind human beings, we want to help. I think we just want to help people to understand what's going on, because they don't, and it's very, very frightening. And that's the other thing. The opposite to love, to me, isn't hate. It's fear, and we have to help remove the fear. And once you really understand what you are, not even as who you are, but like what you are, then you think, I get it, and none of it matters, because then you can sit and crochet, and they can come knocking on the door, but nothing metaphorically or physically doesn't matter, because we're more than just skin and bone.
But the thing is, if you can actually access your heart force field, they won't be able to come and knock on your door.
Yeah.
We're all, I mean, I've been a fighter, don't get me wrong. I've been a terrier throughout my life. I hate unfairness, and because so much was done to me, I've always had this retribution streak, not revenge, but just like, you're going to pay for this one day. This just isn't right, which is why all of this that's happening now makes complete sense to me. It has to happen. It has to be what's happening, that, all the top evil has been taken out, and we're literally catching the rats now and cleaning up, right? And all coming to an understanding. But again, I think actually also these conversations, they are a bit of a brain drain, aren't they? As you get a bit in, it's easy to kind of lose the track. But the workshops, but also just on that, the dreaming workshops also, I would like to have a workshop and then have 12 lions work with me who have access to, a workforce or a group of people, and get them to dream a humanitarian project into existence. Because I do know that we will receive the funds. It's all consciousness based. And if people get together in groups, and if each of those 12 people goes off and does a project for Lancashire or sorry, for where they are, and we start to connect with other people, because there are loads of things like the people to people movement. And I have spoken to Mark, what's his name? He's up in Edinburgh and he's doing Edinburgh people. He asked me to do Lancashire people. I said, I'll do that. Absolutely. I'm already the guardian of Lancashire, acting temporary guardian until the other guardians stand up. And it's about taking it back. And that's my dream. See? So I can dream with this, and then I can go into the 3D worlds. I'm dreaming about my beautiful dress that I'm going to meet Nikola Tesla when we reunited in my reality. I'm telling you, it's him. And I'm going to start getting all these weird feelings now, which are going to make me laugh. But anyway.
Have you got a crush on him then, Tesla?
Oh, God, yes. I remember we were
blushing.
I remember when I was really small, drawing princess dresses. I never saw them, but we didn't have any money and stuff. I had a bit of pen and a paper, and I'm always drawing these princess dresses. And I just remember being in the Crystal Palace or some such being, having an amazing time, and then suddenly here we were. So the dream though is to create our heaven on earth in Lancashire. So we're going to, it would be taking over some of the illegally occupied beautiful buildings that people had, like, for example, Lytham House or Lytham Hall. And there's all these amazing buildings that have been taken over by the councils and turned into these horrible pubs and things, right? And we take them and we build Hobbit house.
Beautiful.
Workshops for this, and just take over tons and tons of land, because it does belong to us, especially if it's anything marked with the crown. Just go and put your stake around it. I've had this vision in my head for so long, and you know, and we just create a beautiful space and people come and for free for as long as they want. And we just, you know, have a little chat with the families or the individuals. They can come and work with broken kids, working with broken animals.
Yeah.
Perfect. You know, there's so much we can do, and getting people doing crochet and digging and learning to ride and
Yeah.
working with
Yeah.
animals.
Working on the land.
Yes, this is where
It's,
we're
yeah.
going, you know?
It's kind of going back in time, but with hygiene and good quality and standard of living, isn't it? I think because a lot of people say, oh, I want to go and work on the land and be a farmer and everything, which is great, a lot of hard work, but it doesn't have to be such hard work if we're all coming together
No.
to do that, to create that wonderful world. Our new earth,
Yeah.
I called it. Yeah,
You
our new
can have
earth.
you can have glamping sites that have got free energy devices, and where, you
Yeah,
know, you can build something around the new flying cars that we're going to have. I mean,
yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
have, you know, a Hobbitville around there, because I know that David Wilcock's working on stuff like that, and I know there is a carport has been built, and I know that there's so much incredible work going on behind the scenes ready
Yeah,
for when
yeah, yeah.
the reveal, and it's
So
gonna,
it's
that's
there, isn't it? Yeah, it's
heaven
just we've
on
got to
earth
wait for
is going to be
open
revealed.
the curtains. Yeah, exactly. And
Also,
it's coming in our
yeah,
lifetime.
yeah,
Cool. So,
yes.
Captain Kerry, I think we better wind. I think we've been on for nearly an hour, and I try and keep them under an hour. Is there anything you just want to say, at the end to close? We can always do another one.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to do more because there's always information and I can
Yeah,
constantly talk, but I do repeat myself. I do always go, but it's always about the going within, the heart energy, you know, allowing your heart to grow and connecting with everything. But I am not perfect, and I'm not there. And so people might go, well, how can you? But the thing is, I just know from certain feelings and vibrations, and I feel like I can sometimes, oh, I reckon if I was a little bit cleaner in my diet, I could probably levitate, but it's not time. So yeah, I
yeah,
just say that I'm my heart hurts now these days, not so much with the pain and the of humiliation and injustice and everything just being so ugly and wrong and messed up.
mm,
These days, more and more, it hurts with the joy when I start envisioning and remembering what's coming and the absolute glory that is about to just erupt out of all the rubble. And so I'm like, I've got to open up my heart more so I can fit more joy in. And, you know, all I
yeah,
want to do, I'm not here to make money and stuff. I mean, you know, I just go by whatever, but I'm here to share my energy and to inspire other lions, you know, to just know truly who they are. And I'd love to work with you on that if you've got time. I'm going to
yeah.
go.
We'll talk about it after this, for sure. Sure, my mind's already
Yeah,
there.
we're going to
Okay.
build it. So yeah, thank you,
Well,
Laura.
thank you so much. So thank you. Really nice chatting to you for the first time. And
I
thank you to those that
know.
have stayed to listen on Wise Women. If you did like it, then a thumbs up and make a comment and subscribe to the channel. And, I'll chat with Kerry again soon. And I've got lots of other people lined up as and when we can fit them all in. So thank you very much. Thank you. It's lovely chatting with you.
You're welcome. And it was awesome to chat with you at last. All right.